Do not be deceived. Baylor is on a bit of a losing streak, but they've got 2 first-round NBA draft picks on that roster. I'm not overlooking them.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And what is up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. This is a Locked On Oklahoma State, or I'm sorry, not Locked On Oklahoma State, Locked On Baylor, Locked On West Virginia crossover. Just did this with Cody last night. And we've got Cam Stewart in here with us where we're going to be talking some basketball. Really excited to be doing it, man, because we just don't have Cam on enough. And he's one of the better talents at our spot, what we like to call Locked On. Thanks for making us your first listen as well, guys. We really appreciate that, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, the number one podcast network in the country right now. We're excited about that, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, and obviously the Bears every single day. And we're talking hoops today. We're going to be talking football as well. In the second segment, we'll do a little prediction on this game, but we'll talk portal hauls. We'll talk Baylor. We'll talk, DJ Lagway. Obviously, that's a big pickup for them. West Virginia obviously had some big pickups on the O-line, and we'll talk about that, as well as maybe a comparison as to what Baylor should have done rather than what they did do in the portal. But we got to start where we start. We got to start in basketball. Obviously, a pretty big game this Saturday, even though the Bears are on a little bit of the snide, if you will. They've lost, 7 of the last 8 games. You've lost games you probably shouldn't have lost to teams you were probably on paper better than.
Yeah.
This is still a team that could technically make the tournament if you turn things around. And I'll tell you what, you looking at the numbers and things, or at least when I look at the numbers and things, there are some things you guys do on paper that scares West Virginia, even though you're on the back half of this road trip here where I think you probably stayed in Cincinnati and then you'll come to Morgantown. I'm not exactly sure, but so what are your thoughts on obviously West Virginia, Morgantown, the back half of this trip, and the way the Bears have been playing, man?
Yeah, well, first off, Morgantown is never a good place for Baylor when it comes to football or men's basketball. We had 1 week. The first week we were ever at number 1, which was in 2017. We were number 1 team in the country, Sunday poll, and then Monday night lost by 20 in West Virginia. So it's this team. You talk about it. It is a little deceptive in terms of the talent they've got there. They do have some talent. It's not being put together, and they're a team that has really, really struggled defensively. And the offense, since they hit better competition. Paul, if you look at the overall stats, like Big 12 teams overall this year, Baylor's a top 5 offense in the conference.
Right.
But if you take it to just the conference games, which Baylor did not have a great non-conference schedule like they usually do. If you take it just the conference games, they're second to last in offense, just in terms of points per game. So it has taken a dramatic dip as the competition has gotten better. And I honestly, I see from this game, Paul, this has happened a lot in the history of these two teams playing. I have a feeling this is going to be one heck of a rock fight on Saturday.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of misses, a lot of rebounds in this one.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy that West Virginia has been able to kind of keep this identity up through the coaching changes, right? Because we're on our fourth coach.
Yeah, it's not quite press Virginia, but
no,
it's a pretty good defensive team.
Well, I think you just hired who your identity is. Obviously, Ross Hodge was finished second to Houston, I think 2 out of 3 years when he was at North Texas, which you live in the area close to North Texas and Denton and what he did there. And, there's just a lot of West Virginia, North Texas turnover kind of going on in life. So anyways, you got Neil Brown going back there and just everything. And, but as far as this game goes, I was listening to 3 guys earlier, which is a really good pregame show for West Virginia that has a play-by-play for West Virginia guy and also his color guy and one of our moguls from the media that's just been around for years, and Hoppy Kirchville. They all do a show together called 3 Guys. And I picked up a lot of these stats, listening to them earlier, talking about you guys are top 25 nationally in offensive efficiency, but you said that's more non-conference. So You're not as strong a shooting team as in the conference as you has been non-conference. Is that what you were telling me earlier?
Yeah, definitely. And you can see it in some of their recent games. There's these Big 12 defenses are not respecting 3-point shooting. They're going to let Baylor shoot. And we saw it in the Houston game a couple of weeks ago specifically. Baylor kind of got off to a hot start. I think they were I think they were like up 15-8 or something like that. And the place was going nuts. They had hit 3 or 4 threes. And then Baylor kept shooting. And Houston just kept cutting into the lead. They ended up winning by 20, 25 points. It's a team that doesn't have a lot of shooters. And mainly, Paul, they don't have a guy who can command the floor. They don't have a true point guard. And you look at actually both these teams, they're turnover prone, especially when it comes to these conference games. I think they're the 2 worst turnover margin teams in the conference. So I don't know if that's something West Virginia's had a problem with as well, but certainly for Baylor, it's just they don't have a commanding presence. They don't have a guy that the offense is running through,
Yeah, right. Makes sense. I think what you guys do well is offensive rebounding.
That's hilarious.
I know, do right. Top 10 nationally offensive rebounding percentage. 4 players rank in the top 11% nationally in offensive rebound rate, according to Brad from 3 guys. You guys generate 17% of your total points off second chances, which is in the 86th percentile. And so that means you have multiple really good rebounders, and that's an important thing. And Bob Huggins used to always scream, "Rebounding's a part of defense." So, it's something to at least look at, along with you guys get to the line a lot. So that's a good combination. And it's not like you guys have great pace. If you look at what you do in transition, you're in the 89th percentile in points off fast breaks, top 10, 15% nationally in transition points per possession. So, obviously the formula is to limit your pace, stop your transition, and make you play half-court ball, right? I think that's kind of what you do with Baylor.
Totally. And it's a team that – and here's where the different styles within Baylor's team have not matched up very well, Paul, is like they're slow because they don't have a big rotation. And they've had some injuries, but overall it's a very tight, small rotation, 7 guys, you know what I mean? And so they keep it pretty slow. But in the same sense, they're not – a great man-to-man team. They play a lot of zone defense. Like this is back to the old days for Scott Drew before they hit that kind of national championship level where they were playing straight up man. So you're keeping it in the half court, but you're also playing a zone, which has been varying degrees of effectiveness. Let's be honest. Yeah. You play a team like Tech that can just shoot over it, and they just shot over it all night. Right. They scored 80 points on you in your own building. And so that's what they're trying to kind of find, this happy medium. Can we slow it down, but we don't have a floor general. And, we can't get out in transition, even though that probably would help us, but we don't, we're playing a zone defense. We want it to be slow, but teams could shoot over that, and so it's all these kind of dichotomies, going against each other here. And that's why you see a lot of it. A lot of their offense is unsettled. That's why a lot of it's second chance points. They miss a lot. They have some good rebounders, and they don't have a point guard who's going to reset the shot clock and give you another 20, 25-second possession and find a good look. It's catching a rebound and going back up. Not even a kick-out team. So, yeah, they're gonna want it to be slow for sure. And I don't know who that exactly gives the advantage to. Probably the team that's won more than one conference game this year, but it is going to be slow.
West Virginia. I mentioned this yesterday. Hopefully it changed, because going into the game against Kansas State, West Virginia was averaging, it was like third least in the country possessions. It was 66.6. So I was like, can we just change that number like 1/10 of a point? Like instead of it being 666, can it be like 66.7 maybe? But anyways,
makes me feel better.
Yeah. So West Virginia is a very, very slow team. The slowest you'll probably have played this year. And they love to get shots late in the shot clock, and they love to guard you half court all the way through. This is a team that probably doesn't score it as well because they choose to play defense, right? That's what this team is. We're not, I don't want to say elite because that's like, I'll reserve that for, Houston, Iowa State, and teams in Arizona, obviously. As far as defense goes, but West Virginia's in that next tier, right? They're definitely a top 20 defense in the country. They sit down, they pack the line. So the one thing about Baylor that had the three guys worried, and I thought it was a great point, was Cam Carr, 42% from three, top 6 nationally, 61% from 2, top 13% nationally, and 80% when he gets to the rim. So, he's one of the national leaders in fouls drawn and averages 21 points a game, except for the bad game he had against Cincinnati. And that's not going to happen twice in a row. I don't care. I mean, look, he's a great player. He's going to draw a tough assignment in Jasper Floyd, who was held, I think, 6 guys in a row, 5 points below their average. But, is he a Joe Toussaint level stopper? I don't know about that, but I do think he's really good. And we'll see what happens. We'll see what Baylor's made of. Obviously, this Saturday, I think that they're a better team than their record shows, and they just haven't been put all together yet. And maybe if your best player, your best point guard hadn't got stolen in the offseason along with all these other players, you guys would be a national championship contender this year, right? If you just held on to what you had from last year and had it this year, how much better? If you put Wright on this team, how good would you be?
Yeah, I mean that's really just the one name you got to think about, Rob Wright. I think it makes a dramatic difference. It's not unlike a football team that has a lot of good pieces, but the quarterback doesn't come back. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're talking about here. If you've got a guy like Rob Wright, who, by the way, the scoring numbers have been way up this year. He's taken more shots with BYU. There's no reason he wouldn't have been able to do that on this
runs
team.
Down there.
Yeah, but I'm saying like there's no reason he couldn't have had a higher volume of shots.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if they
was that
used
part of the
him
reason he left.
It could have been. I think money was the biggest part. As it comes, as you know, I mean that's
right.
For all of these guys, right? I don't know that Baylor even used him as effectively as they should have last year, because they were paying a lot of money to Jeremy Roach to come in, and that ended up being just a mess, basically. But if Rob Wright's on this team,
what a name from the past. I mean, it just seems like Roach was at Duke 20 years ago,
forever,
or whatever it was.
Yeah, forever, man. But if Rob Wright's on this team, we're talking about better looks for Cam Carr, who's already over 20 points a game. I think you're getting the most out of Caden Powell if you have a true, point guard running the pick and roll here. And I think it opens up a lot for Tunde Yesufu, who is a freshman 5-star guy.
There's another one.
And we see
NBA player.
Absolutely. But we see it all the time, Paul, with these high octane freshmen. And we saw a bit with VJ Edgecombe last year. It's a huge step
another one
to play in the Big 12. It is a huge step, and you just don't have a ton of space. And it's tough to blame these 18-year-olds for not getting great looks. If Rob Wright's out there, it's a lot easier for a guy like Tunde Yesufu. I'll say that.
Yeah, let's go to break really quick since we're at about 13. And we'll talk a little bit more about this and give a prediction right after the break, guys. We got some football to talk about. Don't worry, we'll be right back. And somebody a lot prettier than me and Cam has something to tell you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kalia Butler, host of Locked On Women's Basketball, and this is Mazda's Women's Basketball Snapshot, celebrating the work no highlight reel can ever capture. The WNBA has released its 2026 schedule featuring a 44-game regular season beginning on Friday, May 8th. The league's historic 30th season includes expansion teams Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo, with opening weekend highlights such as Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever hosting Paige Beckers and the Dallas Wings, and a rematch of the 2025 finals between the Aces and the Mercury. In college hoops, South Carolina handed Vanderbilt its first loss of the season with a dominant 103-74 win. These moments are earned off the clock, those long before the lights ever come on. The sweat, the fakes, the doubt, the scrapes, and coming back for more every time. Mazda puts the same drive into every detail. Wins define the moment. Putting in the work, that defines you. There's more to a Mazda because there's more to you.
And of course, now we're back here in segment 2 where I will not be cracking a dew, but I do have a Gatorade. I know it's crazy, right?
Cheers, brother.
Absolutely. Cheers to you. What flavor is that?
This is just a classic fruit punch. Just a classic. You know,
Fruit
what
punch
it's
is
born
good.
out of is we got a ton of snow here. And so I haven't had my flavored water, because I've been able to take the car out. So I've just been walking to some convenience stores and picking up some of these when I can.
You got a lot of snow there. Really?
Yeah, up here in Mass, we got over 2 feet, man. Over 2 feet of snow.
For whatever reason, I know you're from Massachusetts, and I keep forgetting because you cover Baylor. I keep.
Well, I just moved back, Paul. I'll give yourself some grace. I just moved back a couple months.
Oh,
ago.
okay, got it.
That's all. Yeah, and I do cover the Baylor team, so yeah. I was in Texas for a long time.
It's not too far of a stretch to think you might live there.
No, it's not, Paul, and I did for forever,
God.
for 10 years, man.
Oh, Lord. Okay, so we went over a couple of the Baylor guys. Obviously, you said Tande Yeshipu, or is it Yeshipu?
Yesifu.
Okay, got it. Obviously, he's another guy that's an elite defender, top steals rate in the top 7 nationally. Really good player. He struggles on catch and shoot jumpers, right?
Yeah.
Not great there. Can score it on post ups. He's really active around the basket. If you watch him, even Cincinnati. So I think you're losing because the roster's young. It's new. You haven't gelled yet. It's really a transition heavy style that, the pace needs to be controlled. And when that doesn't happen, you guys can struggle because it becomes a half-court game. We kind of went over that. But, with West Virginia, obviously this is going to be a really big home crowd, probably anywhere between 11, 12, maybe 13,000 people. We might even be filled up. Trey Eaglestaff. I don't know how much you remember about him in the offseason.
I was gonna ask about him because we talked on a show together. I love the Eaglestaff addition. Obviously been looking at it, but I want to hear your thoughts because I see the numbers are lower, but that's a step up in competition and a step up on his own team. I think it's been good, but
it took him about 12, 13 games to really get going, and it was a mental thing. He even mentioned it. He mentioned it one post game and said, I just got to stop reading what people are writing about me. Like, it was really he went from North Dakota State to big fish, small pond in West Virginia, where you're a celebrity everywhere you go. Right. Yeah. And he's a very distinct looking guy. He's got some Indian in him. At least I'm pretty sure he does. Native American, so anyways, he's really turned in some really good performances. He does have an off night, but man, he won us the game against Kansas State the other night. It's funny because he's one of our 3 best defenders, which you would have never predicted coming into the year. And that's by the numbers. I'm not just saying that. Like, he's not an elite athlete defensively, but man, he is 100% try hard and was really put himself in multiple good positions. And he's long. He's 6'7". He's got long arms. But, offensively, he's really turned it on. Really, really good shooter, can get to his right and do a couple things. He likes to go right. He likes to shoot. He likes to cross back to his left. And those are kind of his moves. He's a big, hezzy guy. But obviously, Honor Hupp is the engine that makes this team go. Right. The best 3-point shooter in the league. It's not – I mean, I don't care who you mention alongside him. I haven't seen a guy that makes more difficult shots than Honor Hupp. He's just that good, and we're excited to have him. At 5'10", you would never think a guy could be as good as he's been, but he has not. Coming up from Chattanooga has not deterred him one single bit. He's been everything.
Like, he's got a bit of an edge to him. I like watching it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he has not been. I guess no pun intended, but like, he hasn't shrunk in the moment at all.
No,
you know what I mean? Like,
he's
like,
player.
I deserve to be here. And I love that.
Yes. Yeah. And so that tandem works really well. And then obviously Ross Hodge brought some from North Texas guys in with him, and Jasper Floyd, his point guard, and then Brendan Lorient, who was on the Final Four team for FAU and now has grown into a 6'9" monster in the middle of our lineup, who does everything well. He's a good defender. He's good in the middle of the paint. He's good at rebounding. He alters shots. He does a little bit of everything for us. And then, you got a guy and a couple other guys really we've kind of tightened up the rotation, 8, 9 guys now. And, it's been good for this team. I think that we're only scratching the surface of this team's potential, but, it's not a team that has a bunch of NBA players on it, but they do have really high level college players. Like I would consider like an Honor Huff, like he's in that Steph Curry mold, right? He's a guy that can just change the game. He's one of those guys like in training. He's like Kate. I'll tell you what, he plays just like Caitlin Clark. Like that's a very similar way they play the game, right?
Steph and Caitlin Clark. This is a shining, a really glowing endorsement here, Paul.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I'm not saying he's that elite of a shooter.
Yeah,
he's in that category though. He just, he's that guy. As soon as he crosses half court, you've got to get on him. He'll logo you to death if you don't. And then when he gets in rhythm, it can be 3, 4, 5 in a row. We've seen it multiple times this year. So, he's the guy. And when he's off, we can struggle. And we do go long points of time without scoring the ball. That's our biggest Achilles heel. It's why we've lost a couple games this year. I think our defense takes a lot out of us, but overall, we're a pretty good basketball team. So it should be an interesting game. I like West Virginia to win it. What about you? Do you think Baylor's got a shot to come into Morgantown and win this one?
Oh, geez. They have a shot.
Yeah.
And I think that when you look at the one game they've won in the conference this year I wish I could give more analysis other than they kind of got hot. They got hot from three. It was their best 3-point shooting day. I think they shot almost 60% in that game. Like they were just shooting the lights out against Oklahoma State. I think I'm supposed to pick Baylor, Paul. I think I have to do that. I do think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be a rock fight. But what I hate about that is Baylor has lost steam in those games, whether it's the rotation, whether it's the play style. They have just lost that kind of steam towards the end of the game. So it's going to be low scoring. Screw it, man. I'll take Baylor. I'll take Baylor. 62-60 though. Like dog fight. Like
takes
what you guys
Baylor
have with Cincinnati
in a dog fight. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've
got to win
West
one
Virginia.
of these, man. Like
I'll take West Virginia 69-64. I think it's also going to be a closer game.
Yeah.
But I do think the home court tips it for West Virginia in our favor. We're undefeated at home. We're 14-0 at home. So that's obviously a big deal. We play really well there. So we'll see what happens. Let's go to break then, since we're already at the 22-minute mark. We'll finish on some football. We'll be right back, guys. We'll talk some portal. We'll talk some Baylor, some DJ Lagway, and some other stuff. We'll be right back. And, of course, we can't go anywhere without talking about our friends from Rocket Money. So if you don't know about Rocket Money, now's the time to learn, man, because I really enjoy the Rocket Money app. It really helps me out. And if you want to be real, managing your finances can be overwhelming between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, and trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month. It's easy to feel like you're losing control. And who has time to track every transaction or hunt down every hidden fee? Well, that's where Rocket Money comes in. It's a personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps your bills save so you can grow your savings. So I was pretty shocked when Rocket Money showed me I was paying for not one, but 2 Netflix accounts, and this is a true story that I completely forgot about. So it actually has already saved me some money. I love how it tracks all my subscriptions and lets me cancel them right in the app with just a few steps. No more hunting down customer service numbers. And look, let Rocket Money help you change your financial goals faster. You can reach them faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. Do you think they figured out that rhymed? rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
Because I read it like that. I get it in that rhythm.
Yeah. I mean, it's a thing. All right. So with Cam Stewart here from Locked On Baylor, make sure you go over to Locked On Baylor and check him out. The logo is on the border here. If you don't recognize it, which you should, since he does elite work over there. Truly one of the most, I say it every time, but I mean it every time, one of the most talented guys we have at our network. So make sure you're checking him out.
As one of the most talented guys we have as well. You should know. Yeah.
Takes one to know one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humble, man.
So you guys, man, I really thought you were going to turn it last year with Aranda. I did. I don't know if it was just the way you came off that the year before with what did you go 7-0 down the stretch, or what was it?
Last 6 in a row to end it.
Six in a row to end it.
Yep.
And very similar to, I would say, the 23 Neil Brown West Virginia team that won the Mayo Bowl, and you had all these good players coming back the next year.
Eerily similar, man.
Yeah.
And we had Auburn at first, and you guys had Penn State, right? That was the Penn State year.
Yeah.
And it's humbling early.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pull away. This defense just stunk in that game and pretty much every game. But it was no pun intended with the ears crowd here, but eerily similar. And I think we talked about that after the 24 season of like, be careful. You think it's figured out, but sometimes it's not.
Right.
Neil Brown kind of went back down, and that's exactly kind of what happened here.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. It sucks, man. So, you guys had what you thought was going to be maybe a generational type offensive year.
Yeah.
It just didn't happen, and it is what it is. So you've moved on. What do you have returning? What is the outlook for this Baylor team coming in the next year, man? I mean, can Aranda flip it? I feel like he's in the exact same spot Neil was now at this point, to where most everybody hates him.
Yeah, it's the vibes are as low as it's been in my decade plus following Baylor pretty intently. And I guess the post scandal thing was a little bit different. And you got Matt Rule, who I think everyone believed in day one. But where this is for Aranda right now, after 6 seasons, is just, it's low. And I would say at the beginning of the portal window, when there was guys going out, no one coming in yet, this looked like a 2 or 3 win team. Like, it looked that low. But the DJ Lagway addition is changing some people's minds. I like the addition. I really do. But I don't know that it exactly gets them to bowl eligibility, so that's kind of what we're talking about here, like a fringe bowl team. And the Lagway addition is nice. He's one of the best quarterbacks that was in the portal. You kind of got lucky in a sense that he is a Baylor legacy and was thinking about Baylor the first time around. But you look everywhere else and there's not a ton of improvement, and there's almost nobody coming back. You graduated most of your production, and even the guys that were supposed to come back, Bryson Washington, the running back, he's out at Auburn. Your all Big 12 linebacker, Keaton Thomas, former Mountaineer, he's off to Ole Miss, and so you're losing the talent that you even did bring back. And
everybody went to Ole Miss.
I know. DJ Lagway almost went to Ole Miss.
Tampering bunch of fools they are too.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. And the NCAA is not going to.
I feel like they extra tamper, if there's such a thing. Like,
well, they're trying to strike while the iron's hot. You know what I mean? They're sniffing the blood. They're like,
there's no regulation.
Yeah, we need to play ball like Alabama has.
They better hope that they don't decide to retroactively go back and do things about all this, which they probably can't, because like 75 or 80% of America would be in trouble.
Yeah.
But, I do feel like there are some teams that are predatory. It's one thing to send a message to a player, maybe, like Dabo said, but like once the coach gets involved and says, hey, man, leave my guy alone, that's insane to me. I can't believe that they still was like, screw you. Like, we want your player. We're going to take him. We're going to keep offering him money. And they just wore him down. And it's just like, man, like, at what point do the adults start making decisions for the kids that are good? It just doesn't seem like it's on the horizon.
Yeah, and you're right, dude. Like, so many of these come down to it, and I'm like, is this even good for the player? You know what I mean? Like, beyond the money. Like, and Lagway, so Lagway committed to Baylor and then did at least one visit after he committed. The visit was to Ole Miss.
Yeah, I was up in the air.
I'm like, is this like good advice to give to the kid? Like, that's not really how the real world's supposed to work, right? You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that's instilling good things. And it's tough for me to sit here and blame the 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, right? Because there's people in his corner, you know, there's parents, there's agents, there's coaches, that it's anyway. But yeah, it's craziness. We all know it's the Wild West. You just got to make it where you can make it. And seeing the rest of this portal class for Baylor, it's not striking a ton of confidence in me yet. In fact, I would say, Paul, who Dave Aranda and the Baylor Bears should really be taking notes from, is how your Mountaineers have handled the transfer portal. We need to fix these lines.
Right.
West Virginia needed to as well, and they're actually doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the one thing you could say West Virginia absolutely unequivocally did, which is they fixed the offensive line for what, you know, because so much of what Rich Rodriguez is and does, not only just as the program as far as being tough, but just how things roll. You know, you've got to be able to sustain drives. You've got to be able to not go 3 and out with this, you know, it's pretty well known Rich Rodriguez is either number 1 or number 2 in tempo every year. So even among teams that run tempo, he's the fastest or one of the 2 fastest. So it's really extra hurtful whenever you go 3 and out with a team like we have. But it's also the opposite of that is if you can get 5 yards on a first down, it's, you know, as most teams that run tempo, it changes the game. And West Virginia went out and signed, like I said, 2 first-team offensive guy, first-team all-conference offensive linemen from Jacksonville State. They got a guy who's never get up a sack in his career from Wyoming. They got a guy who's never get up a sack in his career from K-State, and Devin Vass, who spent the last 7 games at K-State last year just dominating people, including Utah, which I've got every snap of that game. I've watched it so many times. It's so fun to watch him just beat Utah to death. You know, sorry, I had to get that out there, but they also went out and got a 6'7", 320-pound offensive tackle from UConn in Carson Cassidy. And UConn, obviously, Jim Mora upgraded his job and went somewhere else because of how good they were. So, you know, West Virginia they didn't go anybody, not one guy that wasn't a starter where they were at offensive line wise. Like they invested, I would imagine, I know for a fact they invested, you know, $600K in one guy, $400K in a couple other guys. So they were spending between 4 and 6 on all 6 of these guys. So they invested a couple mil into the offensive line at least, if not a little more. So, you know, I think it's and that's not to even mention that you're probably going to have a true freshman starting on the offensive line, even though you brought all those guys in, because you flipped Kevin Brown from Penn State, the number 3 offensive lineman in the nation, on signing day, and he is just an elite player. Like whenever I had Brian on from Locked On Portal, he was like, "Oh my God, he was fawning over him." Like he said,
Brian knows everybody, man.
Yeah,
he's got the scouting report, so
he's
giving you that,
yeah. So you know, obviously, it's really exciting. And then West Virginia obviously did some things on the D line as well that you can be excited about if they work. West Virginia's fixed on both sides of the ball, offensive and defensive line-wise. But there are still other things that need to be worked out, obviously, for West Virginia to be successful this year. But, yeah, I mean, if you're Baylor, I think you can ask that question. Was the quarterback play the right move, or should we have done what West Virginia did, which was spend $800K on a guy that has a lot of upside like we did Michael Hawkins from Oklahoma and invest the other 1.5 or 2 million somewhere else? What did you guys pay for him? Do you know?
Don't know. I gotta imagine it's over $1 million, even though he had a struggle in
definitely
the
it's over $1 million for sure.
Yeah.
The Colton Joseph went to Wisconsin for 2.7.
Yeah,
that's
a good point.
I mean, Lagway's got to be worth more than that.
And so, like, it brings up an interesting point. Like Walker White, who was here last year, he came in from Auburn. He hadn't played at Auburn. He didn't take many snaps, didn't take any snaps here, and he entered the portal, and now he's at Central Arkansas. And so I don't know how much that blew up their plans that he transferred because he hadn't played, you know, he hadn't taken any snaps. So I was of the, like, before the portal even opened, I was of the mindset of, like, they're probably just going to bring in, you know, G5 guy with a ton of experience, you know, high floor, low ceiling kind of guy who can get the car in the garage for you for a year, because you do have a guy that they really like in Edward Griffin, who was a true freshman this past year, ended up becoming a 4-star guy, and you got a 4-star quarterback behind him who's just coming in this year, Quinn Murphy, who played high school football for Jason Witten. And like, they like both of those guys, especially Griffin, a lot. So I do think those are still the long-term plans. But I was thinking, okay, maybe you bring in one of these super experienced guys for a year. And, if something's up worst case is these kids don't play, the Murphy or the Griffins, but they're learning a lot. They're carrying the clipboard. They're ready to go. And if it's not working, you're 2-4 halfway through the season, and Edward Griffin has taken a ton of the reps as a backup in practice, then you trot him out there. You got nothing to lose. But they've kind of gone in a different direction of expensive quarterback, big name, who does have a couple of years of eligibility left, who is a super talented guy. But I wonder what that does for your future, your short-term future.
Seems like a move that a guy who's on the hot seat might make.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's like,
yep.
Look at this thing over here. Don't pay attention to me for a couple of months.
Come to buy your tickets. Here he is.
Yeah. You can definitely build the offseason around him for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sure he's probably already been featured heavily in the social media and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So, and deservedly so. I mean, would I be excited if West Virginia brought in Lagway? You bet your bottom dollar I would have been excited. Mm-hmm. So, because he could run the I mean, think about him. He's a dual threat guy. He's a former 5-star. Not exactly sure what happened at Florida, and that does give you a cause to pause maybe, but it's not like he was exactly on a good football team in Florida either. So
right.
It's going to be interesting, man. Well, we'll see what happens. Obviously, West Virginia and Baylor don't play each other this coming year, which is weird. But obviously maybe in the championship game, if it happens, you never know.
Probably. We'll see there. Arlington Friday night.
That's probably how it'll actually go. Oh,
no,
God.
Yeah.
Guys, make sure you following Cam Stewart over at Locked On Baylor. He does an awesome job over there. Anything else you got going on that you want them to see?
Well, I want them to see your show some more, Paul, because I know you're doing a lot of this in-depth basketball, all week, and so I want, if people want more of a look at West Virginia than what we gave you here, check out Lock On West Virginia with Mountaineer Paul, man. It's one of the best damn shows that we have. Easily.
The best. What's that show? That show used to be called the Best Damn
Sports Show, period.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, guys. For Cam, for me, we appreciate you guys for being here. Don't forget to like the video before you leave. Subscribe if you're new to either channel. And absolutely positively, don't forget. And look, we try not to forget about the Everydayer Club, because it is a big deal. And if you're not, already subscribed to a Discord server on one of the other ones, I don't know if you can do more than one. I'm assuming you probably can. Check out one of ours here, because obviously the Everydayer Club is a big deal if you want to do it. It's lockedonpodcasts.com. That's with an S, /Everydayer Club. I'll put the link in the chat. It's basically you get ad-free audio on the audio side of things. You get some cool gear, and you can also talk to us in our Discord server. So if you're into that, make sure you check it out, guys, and we'll see you there. Other than that, guys, we're asking you to check out Locked On Portal next. Brian does an awesome job over there. He's as plugged in as they get, man. I'm going to tell you that right now. He got me a really cool source earlier this offseason. So he's a guy, man. He's a dude. He's been around forever, very well respected. So check him out too. We'll see you guys on the next one, right here on Locked On West Virginia and Locked On Baylor. We'll see you next time. We're out of here. Q Country Roads.